Yeah, now you go. Go.
Sit down. Folks, welcome back. We are on the Arts Access television show. Arts Access, that is, AXIS. And our special guest star this evening is the performing artist Copernicus. Copernicus has been a guest on our show before. However, it is my special pleasure to host him here again today. Welcome, Copernicus.
Welcome.
It's a special honor to have you with us. We're a great fan of you and have devoted many shows to your work. This is our second conversation, and that's what I want to entitle it tonight, Conversation with Copernicus. And in preparation for it, I've gone through our previous interview and have prepared a few questions for you based on your own statements, based on your very own interview comments and analyses. And you were saying, first of all and foremost about your message, that you stand for a new vision of real people caring about what is real. Existence, you said, is the world
I don't
of
think I
illusion.
stand. No. I never thought. Well, real people caring about what is real.
People caring about what is real.
Well, that's important, but I don't know if I stand for that. People don't exist.
Well, that's what you were saying. Nothing can exist long enough to exist from one moment to the next. But there are things that people, despite that, should care about, right?
No, they should be what they are. There aren't things that they should care about. They should be what they are. They should be the spontaneous expression of what they are. If it calls for, in that expression, it calls for them caring about reality, great.
Well,
You don't have to care about reality.
You yourself
You have to
care
be what
very
you
much
are.
about reality. And in fact, you were searching, as you told me, for absolute reality.
Are you sure that this thing is close enough? The sound?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's not tight, though.
It doesn't have to be tight. I'm worried about the sound. The sound is okay?
Sound is perfect.
All right, then shoot it. Go.
Okay. It just moves from side to side for you. That's it. Finally, we've
Start again. Go.
As I said, you were seeking absolute reality, and
Right.
that's a major theme in your work. And I want you to tell us, why is it important to perceive an absolute reality? Why is not relative reality good enough?
Because when you are in tune, when you understand absolute reality, and then you can be in tune with absolute reality. And when you're out of tune, with what is real, then you're in trouble. Then you do stupid things. You do ignorant things that harm you and harm everybody around you.
Okay. You have an idea of absolute reality. What gave you the idea that this doesn't change, or is it just by definition?
No, I don't have an idea of absolute reality.
You said you did.
No, I say basically the only thing I'm saying is that everything above the atomic level does not exist because it is in constant change. And so the human being, as we look at them, are above the atomic level, and they don't exist.
Let's get into the more than atomic level. You said your works are poetry. How would you justify that?
I what?
You said that your works, the songs, pieces that you present as a performer, are poetry. How do you justify that analysis, that criticism?
How do I justify the fact that they're poetry?
Yeah, they're poetry. What makes them
Well,
poetry?
because they're certainly not prose. I use the general tools of poetry to express myself. I use symbolism. I use allegory. I use illusion. I use the general tools.
Yeah. I want to go to something else at the moment. We did a...
You wouldn't call one of Copernicus' poems prose. They're not prose. Prose is one thing, poetry is something else. And poetry for me is a great tool of expression where I can say, I'm able to say things in the best way that I know how. I've been doing it for many years, and so I know how to use that tool to express myself. I can't express myself through music or through painting. I find that I can do it very well through poetry, through the tools of poetry.
One way I look at poetry is that it takes reality apart and puts it together again. It's poiesis or creation, as the word implies literally. Is your work that sort of process, taking the world apart and putting it back together again?
To some extent, yeah, it's nice.
You like that idea of what you do?
Yeah.
Okay, more generally now, we made some social commentary in our last discussion, and I'd like to go back to that. You said that, if I may quote you or paraphrase you, I never liked society, but if it wasn't for society, I'd be trying to invent the wheel. We don't want to go back, you said, to the ignorance of the past. That's a major theme of yours.
Very important.
Conquering ignorance or avoiding its evil effects.
But society is definitely a danger, severe danger.
Society is a danger.
Severe
Let me ask
danger.
you a question.
Severe evil.
Isn't it true that
When a
the
group
good
of
that
people,
society
when a group of
offers
people come
us?
together, they turn into monsters.
Is that
When
true?
they're alone, when a human being is alone, he loves, and he's alone with the sky, he loves it. You get him together in a group, he turns into a beast.
Okay, let me tell you something now. All of our theorists about society have said that before society, it was the state of nature, quote unquote, where people essentially did as they pleased, did not respect the rights of others, and it was a nasty, brutish, and short life. Are you saying that that's wrong, that in fact the idyllic time was before that? Before society gave us whatever it gave us?
No, there's no idyllic time.
As Rousseau said.
When you want something, you have to lose something. So if you want society, society imposes enormous amounts of restrictions on your desire to express yourself. And
It imposes restrictions.
yeah,
That is true.
And
You
every
said,
every epic has its own way of thinking, and if you go against it, you're their enemy, and they'll kill you. You'll go against them enough, they'll kill you, they'll destroy you.
Right. It's true you refer to society as an enemy, and that it tries to
It's an enemy, but it can also
tries to isolate the individual, to alienate the individual.
because it's a small group, and every society there's always a small group of human beings that dominate it. And so you are really a tool. If you can participate in that society, you are basically a tool of that small group of people. We don't have a democracy here. There's no democracy is impossible.
Right.
And there's no difference between American society and any fascist dictatorship. It's the same thing. We have an
You're saying
oligarchy.
that we are the same as Hitler's Germany? We're equally morally reprehensible as Hitler's Germany was? The United States? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'd say this is a more humane society. You know, but who's to say whether Hitler was right or wrong? I mean, you could judge him if you were a Jew. I guess he was wrong. But if you were part of that society where he was conquering and he promised a third Reich, a heaven. If you were part of that, maybe he was right. You know, right for them. He was certainly right for himself. He was right in what he thought was right.
They both lost in the end.
No one loses. Nothing exists. Okay. So no one wins and no one loses. They are what they are.
Let's go to something more scientific, so to speak. And that is, when we last spoke, you said that you, Copernicus, say something of equal importance or greater than the first Copernicus.
Definitely, no doubt about it. Because the first Copernicus, he challenged only 2,000 years of thinking in respect to a vision of what the universe was. Before the first Copernicus, they thought that the sun was the center and that the earth went around it. That the earth was the center and that the sun went around it.
Right. What is your revolution?
My revolution, I changed man's thinking from the day that he began to think. Because from the day he began to think, he began to define reality with his senses. That was his mistake. You cannot define reality with human senses.
Actually define.
Reality is at least subatomic.
Subatomic.
At least.
Which means
And anything above the atomic level is definitely just
it must
worthless.
then definitely be conceptual.
Oh,
Merely conceptual.
I think that somewhere it's possible that somewhere in the subatomic world there is a reality. There is an absolute reality that doesn't change. But I just added a little sentence on a piece called Nagasaki where I said that the harmony within the atom possibly is God, but it's possible that God himself is changing. So
it has often been said that the harmony of the universe is God.
yeah, but I'm saying that it's possible that it's God himself that is changing.
Perhaps so. You said the true artist is a dictator.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
He's
comment.
certainly not a Democrat. If he's going to go up and ask the audience what do they think. Let's have a vote on what this point is. No, he's a dictator. He is a dictator, and he's not out there to ask people's opinions. He's imposing his will and his vision on the audience. No doubt about it.
Well, that's part and parcel.
And if he doesn't, and if he's not a dictator, he's a bad artist.
Okay. That's part and parcel of your theory that you're.
An entertainer is a Democrat. An entertainer wants to get up on stage and please the people.
Oh, so there's entertainers.
Yeah, an entertainer. He says, "Okay, gang, what song should I sing tonight?"
Which is the higher?
Well, should I sing Muji Gazava or Bushi Dadiga? And everybody says, Bushi Kashiva. He says, okay, Bushi Kashiva.
Which is the higher vocation?
The higher?
Entertainer or the artist?
I don't like entertainers. I don't like people who go up on stage and make people feel good. I mean, they've got great drugs to do that. I like an artist that goes up on stage and challenges the audience.
Challenge the audience.
Yeah. Someone said that Copernicus's performance is an assault on the audience.
Challenge the audience?
Huh?
Why challenge?
Because that's all they have. All they have is the artist to challenge them. They certainly don't have their employer to challenge them in a capitalistic world. There's nothing. Everything in a capitalist society is to put them to sleep. Give them television, give them whiskey, and put them to sleep. Give them babies, anything to keep them dull so they don't rebel.
You were talking about absolute truth some time ago, and you said it was very important to you as an artist that your goal, your primary task as an artist was to find it, and that you think about it 24 hours a day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I live that.
You live that.
I live it. And it's nothing.
What's it
nothing
all
that
about?
I don't do.
What is that all about?
Nothing.
What do you think about at night?
There's nothing that I do that is not dedicated to the pursuit of absolute truth. Nothing. Sitting here talking to you is everything I do. When I blow my nose, it's part of searching for absolute truth.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
So the whole.
I am a machine. I'm an absolute searching truth machine.
You try to knit all the single, seemingly insignificant experiences together into one.
Oh yeah.
Into one absolute.
Yeah. Because in what is seemingly insignificant, you find the greatest and most profoundest truths. in the simplest people, in the most ignorant people, you find the greatest truths.
Give me an example.
Huh?
Give me an example of a simple thing.
I'm sitting in a bar. I'm sitting in a bar next to a man. A German. It happened to be a German man. I'm sitting by next to some Germans, but it was a German man many years ago. And he says to me, he's dressed. He was well dressed. He was about 62, 63 years old. He had a German accent, and he turned to me and he said, "To be in the arena."
That sounds more like a Spanish accent than a German.
Well, he was German. And
But
he said,
anyway.
and it was the first time that I ever heard that concept of being in the arena, being part of the.
Richard Nixon said that a lot, I must say.
Yeah, well,
He felt like he was the man in the arena.
Nixon was an arena kind of guy, right?
He was a Wiener?
Arena.
Oh, arena.
Arena.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry, Freudian slip or something. I like this line of yours, Copernicus, if I do say so. By confronting reality, you don't get weaker, but stronger.
That's right. You never get weak, you get strong by backing off. You get strong by confronting. Confronting what attacks you, confronting what's trying to weaken you, confront it, face it, and dominate it. Go on. But if you back off, you're dead. You'll never go anywhere else. that barrier will always be there.
People use drugs because society is too demanding. Society always is involved in attempting to enslave us. This is your quote, Copernicus. What does that mean? Why is society involved in attempting to enslave us? What do you mean by that?
Oh yeah, because they don't, again, welfare, drugs, alcohol, moving pictures, all of the record companies that produce this junk music. There's actually a conspiracy to dull the minds of the people so that they can't intellectualize what is being done to them.
Well, you know what, Copernicus? One of the things I was going to discuss with you is this, and this is based on statements you've made in previous interviews. You say certain things against the large record companies that you think are only interested
They're part of the conspiracy.
in money, are only interested
No,
in
they're
money.
part of the conspiracy to dull the American mind, any mind. It's German mind, American mind, any mind.
Okay.
The same process goes along all over the place. Keep the people stupid and pregnant and barefoot.
Right. You said America is a violent, killing country. Of course, you said many good things about America too. And you said we've killed a lot of people. But when I asked you what's good about America, you said very, very briefly, freedom. And of course,
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
and you mentioned as an example.
But it's getting less and less every day. Be careful. It's getting less and less.
Why is that?
Because we're moving to the right. We're moving severely to the right. The whole
right
world
less
is moving
free
to the
than
right. Oh, it's getting worse and worse.
What about far left dictatorship? Like you talked about the slavery, as you said, in Eastern Europe for 40 years.
That's not a left dictatorship. That's a right dictatorship. Those weren't leftist dictatorships in Europe. Those were rightist dictatorships. They were oligarchies. That wasn't communism.
So you say
Those-
that they were
those
not
those
authentically left?
No, they were rightist.
So
They were rightist dictators. They were oligarchies again.
So authentic
Small clique of
leftness.
jerks that call themselves communists. They weren't
Right.
communists.
So
They were a clique of oligarchs that were dominating their people. They had nothing to do with anything.
So according to that theory of yours, would you say that there has never really been evidenced authentic left government?
What, in the history of man? Well, I mean, you're starting to use these terms that have to be defined. Left and right.
That's true.
I mean, Alexander the Great was a very leftist, he was an emperor, but he was a very leftist type thinker. He integrated his entire empire together and brought all of the various civilizations that he dominated, he brought them together. And to some extent, he was a very leftist kind of guy.
Alexander the Great.
Yeah, he was a great man.
Amazing. He was a Macedonian, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to go on. You talked even further about society and such. A main concern of yours. You said about America, as I said, that it's greatest asset is freedom. And you said, I don't think Copernicus could evolve in any other part of the world. In fact, only in New York. Only in America.
No, not in America, New York.
Only in New York. Okay, specifically New York. And that America in general, you said, stands for freedom, as I said. And you went on to say that France and Germany claim to have freedom, but they don't.
No, because it's
How do you justify that?
they don't have freedom. They're too tightly knit. They're too tightly controlled. They're overpopulated.
Can't you be tightly knit as a homogeneous society and yet have freedom?
They think they have freedom, but they're not. They don't have freedom. They're first of all, they're overpopulated, especially Germany.
So overpopulation is Nazi freedom?
Yeah. And there are just too many restrictions that go back in the history. They're striving toward this freedom, but they don't have it.
Well, perhaps I can elucidate from your own statement.
They haven't. Germans haven't confronted their own neurosis.
What are
They
those?
push their neurosis away. They don't want to see
What
that.
are their neuroses, if you
One of the main causes of their neurosis is overpopulation.
Okay, what's another?
That's the main cause of it.
What's another?
That's the main cause of it.
Okay. What's the main effect of it?
Yeah?
What's the main effect of their
It
neurosis?
makes them look for Lebensraum. Makes them look for somewhere to put this population. And
Okay, well, let's get on to a more essential thing, I would say. You said about the United States, our beloved America, you can be born in a lower class and go to the top. Class is based on money here. Is that still true as it was when you said it?
It's less than in the 19th century, of course. It's harder. In the 19th century, anybody. I mean, you take the greatest people. They all came here poor, and they became multi-millionaire.
Right. Okay. Talking about music, Copernicus, that's your bag, as they say. You said the big music companies basically don't care about truth at all. They care about parasitic teeth in the minds of the people. They're enemies of the people. All they care about is money. And,
No, and they
I
care
guess
also
some people
about
might sympathize with that.
But also they care about dulling the people's minds also.
I thought of a whole theoretical issue there that's interesting to discuss, and I'm not sure it's been discussed enough. And that is the old philosophical issue of value being determined by demand. That if in a market society...
No, but if you have nowhere to go, they dominate
If I
everything.
just complete, if in a market society a lot of people demand something, then it has an intrinsic value, and that demand determines its value just because a lot of people demand it.
No, they
You
create the
disagree
demand.
with that?
They own everything. They own the radio stations. They own everything. They own the radio stations. They own the TV stations. I mean, if I send out 300 albums and not one station even plays one cut, what does that mean? They don't even. If I sent an album to most of these stations, they wouldn't even open it to hear it, to listen to it.
Let me ask you a question, Marcus, because I want to get deeper and further into this. You said that the public is not supporting the true artists, and I underline
And they
true
deserve
artists.
it. Yeah, it's true. They never have.
Who cares?
They never, in the history of humanity, they never have.
Who cares about truth? Why is that? I mean,
They're ignorant.
let me say one thing as an example.
They're ignorant.
In ancient
The
Greece,
artist is their greatest friend.
right.
The greatest friend.
Let me say this.
True artist is the greatest friend of the people. Even though he tells the people something that the people don't want to hear.
In
He
ancient
is
Greece,
the greatest friend.
there were competitions among artists, and people like Sophocles, Euripides, playwrights, who competed in competitions, were selected as the best and distinguished by their fellow citizens. Is this not an example of truth being acknowledged by the public, by the general people? Because some might misinterpret your position as meaning that the people are not worthy to discern what is the truth. Is that true?
No, the people are worthy of discerning the truth, but they should be more open to new things, to new forces. But they're not. I mean, if you're struggling to bring food home to feed your children, I mean, the latest avant-garde thought is really very far away from your mind.
Let's get to a topic that is sort of in the news, as they say, and that is race relations. In our last interview, you were talking about us all being brothers, and that all of these differences based on
You seem to be taking this interview into turning me into a sociologist, and I'm dealing it in the world of nothing exists. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm not a sociology observer of society. I don't.
All right, guys, we're back, and with our special friend Copernicus. Let's see now. I don't know what exactly you want to talk about, Copernicus. Just one or two more philosophical points, since you are the primo philosophical.
You haven't been philosophical all night, so go ahead.
Artist. Oh, thanks a lot. Well, let's try.
I wonder if you're able.
You said that. I do too. You said that you had visited Benares in India, and that is where Buddha himself, Thomas Siddhartha, made a significant appearance, and that you read a pamphlet that was concerning the principles of Buddhism, and that you agreed with much of the Buddhist principles. Tell me about that a little bit, because a lot of our audience, I think, has delved into the Buddhistic writings and might be interested in your insights.
It's unbelievable how you come across a little skinny little thing like that, written in basic, simple English, and I had Christian teachings and read the Bible and was taught by nuns, and it wasn't right. And you find a little pamphlet, and you said, "Gee, that's right." And he said something else. There were things in there that I didn't agree with. There were things in there that I didn't agree with.
Like what?
I don't know if at that particular point I didn't agree. I don't agree with the Buddhists. See, the Buddhists, they believe there is something. They believe that there is something in life. Well, I say there is nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is no we. There's no I. They believe there is something.
So that's your
That would be a basic
essential
difference.
basic
That would be a basic difference, severe difference between Buddhism and Copernicus.
Let me ask you one last quasi, as one you would say, philosophical question. When did you first become interested and begin to work out, as they say, philosophical themes? Think about philosophy in that way.
When I lost my religion, I was a severe Catholic, and when I lost that at the age of 22, I had to. All I had left was my mind, and I made that my. If you don't understand what life is, then what's the point? I mean, if you don't know what it is, if you don't understand anything, what's the point of living? What's the point of having babies and bring some other morons into the world? You can't. If your child comes up to you and asks you the basic questions of life, and you're ignorant, you don't have a right to have children.
Okay.
If you can't answer your child, if you have a child that you're not able to answer the basic questions of life, you don't have the right to have a child.
All right. I have one last question before we leave it open to a free interchange between us. talked about your popularity in Central and Eastern Europe last time, and you made one essential point, and that was saying that they had endured several decades of slavery, as you put it, of lack of freedom, being oppressed by the so-called authorities, and that you came along and said there are no authorities, and that is why you were appreciated by your Central European and Eastern European audiences.
I think they appreciate my spirit, my general spirit, not the fact that I have one piece. I have a spirit, just the basic spirit.
Tell us more, though, about those countries and what you see happening there. Have there been real revolutions, as many say? How do you view the situation?
Yeah, there have been tremendous revolutions. It's obvious. You read the newspaper.
What's going on over there now? Because not the average viewer on the
right
arts
now they
show
have the
might
freedom.
not know.
They have the freedom now to hopefully some of more freedom to work themselves out and find out whatever direction they want to take. They'll be all right. If they don't start killing each other.
Do you like playing over there especially?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like it. Like, for example, this fellow here is Paul. He's from Prague. I just was in CBGB's. I've got two friends, two bands from Berlin here, Taegk and Iref. And I just walked in, and Paul said he just saw. He was in Prague. By the way, this is Gary. I'd like you to meet Gary Brackett here. He's he's my lighting man, great lighting man.
Hi, Gary.
Who did all the lighting shows.
You've done lighting for
Europe.
Copernicus?
Yeah, for the last year or so.
Were you in Berlin with him recently?
Yeah, we did Berlin, Hanover, Prague, and Vienna.
Incredible, man. So you were on the recent tour. This is a perfect segue. How was Copernicus received? How would you characterize the chemistry in the audience?
Very excited.
Why?
To see such a high level of poetry and taken to a very high performance level. And we worked together a lot last year, and there was a very organic, you might say, chemistry between the lights and the performance.
Why do you think the folks over there like Copernicus so much?
Because it's related to the experience happening now, I think. People are beginning to understand that government can't solve their problems, that structures, modern so-called structures of society, don't offer much to people, and that people must find it within themselves to overcome what it is we need to overcome, which is to have a more peaceful world, a more just world. And I think poetry is the language that can only speak to that. And politics is passé now. And it's up to people on a personal, individual level to find our common reality.
Does government have any obligation to help the least advantaged?
No, because government is what keeps the least advantaged, so-called, in their place, and we need to do away with government. And it's the people that the liberal philosophy thinks that the poor people need government the most, but I would say that it's just the opposite. If we could get rid of government and get rid of the money system, and people open up their hearts and minds to poetry and poetic thought, then we can end human misery.
So there shouldn't be a safety net for the poor guy.
Well, obviously now, I mean, I'm not talking about a change overnight, but toward the end, no. What is government for? We don't need government to take care of people. We need administration of things, of elements, of atoms.
Let me ask you, my friend, you are from Prague, Czechoslovakia. Welcome to our show, Arts Axis, on Public Access Television here in New York. What is your opinion about the ongoing changes in Eastern Europe? You're a Czech. Czechoslovakia is maybe even breaking up.
I just walked into CBGB's, and he came and approached me, and he said he was in bunker, Well, we did that last concert
Was that a chance?
about a month ago.
Was that a
Yeah,
chance
that's
meeting?
that's what I'm
So
saying.
you met by chance tonight?
Yeah, but he was in Bunker just about a month ago when I was in Prague.
That's amazing.
Oh, this was a CBGB was the
It's
first.
kind of amazing.
Yeah, CBGB was the first bar I went in New York. And I was sitting here for about 1 or 2 hours, and suddenly I see Copernicus. So I went to him and say hello to him, and I especially like him because in his last LP called Null is a well, I don't want to say a song, maybe I don't know how to call it, poetry or something like that, called Tra. And Tra is talking or singing about ancient Egypt, on the walls of ancient Egypt. And I believe I had about 6 or 7 lives before now, when I was born. And
When were you born, by the way? Tell us your birth date.
okay, 19th December 74.
19th of December, 1974.
That's my recent birthday. And I used to be in the army as an officer for Egypt army. And I'm not joking really because I met about 3 or 4 men from my own army. I don't know how you call it, like
You have an
division
army?
or something. Yeah, Egypt army.
You have a personal Egypt
Yeah,
army?
I was an officer.
How many guys are in it?
120.
120.
Yeah.
Okay.
I met about 3 of them.
That's your personal army?
No, well, I was hired as a, I don't know how you call the emperor of ancient Egypt.
The Pharaoh.
Maybe. Well, there were about five of them above me.
Uh-huh.
So I was fighting like it was the smallest unit ever known, and I died conquering Israel. Not Israel. I don't know. Well. I really don't know the names in English. I could tell it to you in Czech.
They might be the land of the Philistines. I'm not sure. But anyway,
I don't know.
we are here. Now you met Copernicus for the first time in, as we said, Czechoslovakia. Now you're here in New York City. It's a small world.
We didn't meet.
No, it's
We
not
just
so
saw the show.
You saw the show
Yeah.
in Czechoslovakia. What did you think of that show?
Well, it was great, really. I can't say anything else. It was great because it touched me to my deepest heart.
Why?
Well, why? Because he's singing of the places or talking of the places I met 5,000, 4,000 years ago. Don't laugh, man. Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
I'm enjoying. I'm not laughing at you.
Okay, what places are those?
He used to sing about one monk place. I don't know how you call it in English. He was singing about this, and
In
there was a
Egypt,
parade-
right?
In ancient Egypt.
Okay.
There was a parade.
I want to tell you one thing.
Yeah,
I am very much into the Egyptian culture. I did a very popular show at a place called Cleopatra's Needle in Central Park in Manhattan, and that is a special obelisk, Egyptian obelisk from Hierapolis, the special holy city of Egypt. And my friends and I, we read all of the sides of the obelisk. And we've talked about mysterious things throughout the years, but the Egyptians have left us one of the most complete and tremendous records of their civilization in all of history. That is no doubt true. But I want to talk more about Eastern Europe, your homeland, because of course you had a connection with Egypt many thousands of years ago, but now you are in Czechoslovakia. And I want to know basically, what are the difficulties in changing from a state that was primarily controlled by a communist, authoritarian, centralized government to a more free and liberal government? What are the difficulties in the transition?
Okay, the biggest difficulty is get rid of the communists.
Are they entrenched in all the basic agencies of the government?
The government got rid of them, but they are living. There were elections about 1 month ago, and communists got 12%. That's a lot, really, because the biggest party got.
The communists got 12%.
12.
So they have a small, strong core
They are
of support.
Well, they got some about 10 or 15 chairs in the parliament, but that's enough to spoil the parliament and slow it down.
Right.
Really. And the biggest difficulties are to get rid of them, because I don't wanna say verbal or dirty words, but they are assholes, really.
Right. How do you feel about Václav Havel, the literary president of Czechoslovakia?
Well, I love him a lot because he's a great man. His plays in theater are great. They touch you. They touch you in your deepest heart. And also, my father works for him. I met him personally for about 3 or 4 times. Talked with him, and
Is he a nice man?
perfect. You can't meet any.
Copernicus, you just made your tour, as we said, in Central and Eastern Europe, Germany, and several other cities. What are your impressions from this tour, and what are people really thinking, and what are they reacting to in your program most positively?
Each country is a different situation.
Give us a breakdown.
Germany is one situation, Austria is another situation, Czechoslovakia is another situation.
Give us a breakdown, if you would. What's going on in Germany, for example?
Czechoslovakia is the most open and is still the most searching and they're a bit insecure and they're reaching out to every way possible and it's very exciting. Austria is, don't forget, it's a country that hasn't had any real experiences for a very long time and
Austria.
They're more sedate. And the Germans are still aggressive and reaching out, but I see a touch of yuppieism entering in there. But they're still as neurotic as ever.
Let me ask him a question, if I could. Excuse me, one moment. Hello.
Sure.
Hello.
I'm going to the bar. What's up? One moment.
Hello. I want to ask you a question, if you'd sit down for a moment. My question is very simple because it puts the burden on you. What question would you like to ask Copernicus?
Well, that's not an easy question, but I think that the question would be, would you really want to reach in this world? Would you really like the world to be?
Well, I don't really believe in the world. The world doesn't exist. So he is constantly trying to bring me back to the old way of thinking. The world does not exist. You don't exist. He doesn't exist. Czechoslovakia doesn't exist, and I don't exist. So all I would like is that say, what do I want a human being to be? I want them to be the ultimate expression of what they are at every moment. There is a goodness in us, and if we an innate goodness in us, and if we let that flow and let that express itself, it is great, and that's what it is that we should respect. It's the danger is when in societies, yes, the danger is in the societies that when they group together and they have either an oligarchy or a dictator or whatever who takes control of them, and they have no control of him, and he allows them to lead them, and then that's madness. So you ask me, what do I want? I want each individual who has a relationship with the ultimate to be what he is in his ultimate expression of what he is.
Okay, let me.
I don't look at the world in terms of countries. There are no countries. You know, I said it to You know, when I'm in Germany, Germany is my country. The whole earth is mine. You know, don't tell me about your country. I own Czechoslovakia. That's my country. You know, the whole earth is mine. Who says it's yours? It's not yours. Well, you got it because you got a gun. I mean, I get 2 guns. You know, I mean.
All right, guys. Let's go from Czechoslovakia, which is a great country. We all agree culturally and historically, to the U.S. And of course, aside from an economic difficulty that we're experiencing here in 1992, we're going through an election period, and there are 3 candidates.
It's going back to the same old thing. I can't believe that you're interviewing Copernicus. When you're a social scientist, you're a political scientist, and you're imposing your political science on someone who has nothing to do with science. I have nothing to do with political science.
Do you want to talk more about music?
No, I don't. I have nothing to do with political science. You're not getting back to the essence of what Copernicus is.
What is Copernicus?
That's what I'm
Is
trying
Copernicus
to say.
art? Is Copernicus art?
You're surprising me that you're really coming here. You're supposed to take this interview to another level, and you're not done that.
Well, we're going to get to another level right now.
Since you insist. This is a regressive.
Since you insist.
This is a regressive.
It's a very progressive show.
This is a regressive.
Don't put down the show because this is your show. Don't you worry about it.
Don't put it down. It's your show.
Bright lights out.
I know my bright light is out, but it's actually on. And the bright light is the subject of our conversation tonight, and that's Copernicus, the performance artist. Copernicus.
Stop. I think because you need a battery soon.
It's gonna be too dark.
Just stop the show. Stop for a second. If you want to keep shooting, you're going to have to use electric.
Do we have to use electric? Can we hook the light up?
Oh, really? Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, folks, we're back with you, and we're with a special band from Germany this time. And this band is called what, Copernicus?
Tech.
Taegk. How do you spell it?
T-A-E-G-K.
T-A-E-G-K.
G-K.
Taegk. And who are these 2 fellows that are sitting next to you? Your 2 special friends.
Armin and Andreas. They're percussionists.
Who's the first one?
Armin. What's your last name?
Oh, yeah.
Kriller. And Andreas. Roth.
Armin.
Armin.
Armin. Tell us about your group, guys.
Sorry?
Tell us about your group.
Is that camera close enough so they can hear me?
We started to make this music 1 year ago, this connection of drums and electronic equipment, and we made many gigs in Berlin, and we came over here to the United States and played in San Francisco on this Hyperbole Hyperbole Festival, which was a festival of Berlin groups. Okay, I can't speak louder because I'm a little bit ill.
Okay. What are your favorite American stars, by the way?
American stars?
Yeah.
They're not stars. These guys are artists. They're really heavy-duty artists. They're beautiful. What do you want them to say? Frank Sinatra? I mean, these people search into their souls. These are artists. They search into their souls.
Aren't there any American artists?
I don't think that they would look. I don't know. Answer the question.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra is very nice.
We love Frank Sinatra and Prince also.
Prince is okay too.
What about German guys? Do you like any German guys? Any German groups?
Yeah. Einstürzende Neubauten.
All right. Which other one?
E-Rap. Herr Blum.
What about, do you like any Austrian performers? Any Austrian performers?
Oh, I don't know any Austrian bands.
Doesn't exist.
What about Falco?
The
know the Untitled.
Falco.
Which country is it?
Do you like Falco? Do you like Falco? Do you like Falco?
Falco. Ah, I remember. You're Austrian, right? Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
You like
Herr
it?
Kommissar. Yeah.
Why is it called Herr Kommissar?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows, huh?
Let them,
What kind of music do you have? by
tell
the
them,
way?
explain what you do. Go ahead.
What kind of music do you do? What kind of music?
It's kind of dance music. It's music.
Dance music?
Yeah, we should move. We should move.
It's not dance music.
What kind
Must
of
go straight forward. We drum and must go forward, and we have a beat to dance.
drum?
They have three
Beat,
monsters.
go forward is what I know now.
Huh?
Drum, beat, go forward.
Right. We call it rhythm and noise.
They have
As
three.
opposed to rhythm and blues, right?
They have three monstrous drums on one side, which he plays. Three monstrous drums on the other side, which he plays. They have electronic attachments, which gives them the effects that they want. They have two in the middle, and it's all percussion. It's the most powerful. I saw them at the knitting factory 2 days ago.
Were you guys playing a knitting factory?
And it had very bad sound. It was really very impressive. Very, very, very powerful.
Thank you, Copernicus.
Now I understand that you two guys are being promoted by Ingard. Is that
George
correct?
Schmitz from the Loft in Berlin.
Ingard Schmitz from the Loft. What do you think about working with Ingard?
Oh, working with Irmgard is...
Yeah. What is her role? What is Ingard's role?
Right now she's light.
What does the promoter do?
No, she's a special promoter. I mean,
She's a promoter.
she do anything for new bands she really likes, you know.
So she is a promoter.
Yes.
By the way, he is EDF. He is he is EDF. These are the two groups that we're having, EDF and Taegk. Taegk are these two guys from Berlin, and he's EDF. He's EDF from, and he does incredible things with three guitars.
He does. Are you a free guitarist? Do you do free guitar?
Yes, I do.
Well, we wore out the light.
I'm sorry?
No, we wore out the light. The light is gone. So this is low.
Do you do free guitar?
Yes, I do.
You do.
I do any kind of guitar. I mean,
Are you in a rock group or a performing group?
I don't have to do some. I don't have to do some rock. I mean, yes, I'm influenced by rock, but that's not an important point.
Well, do you work with others, or are you working with these guys?
Yes, sometimes I work with these guys. We often make gigs.
But right now here in New York, he's solo.
Solo. Okay, where are you playing? Yeah.
Anywhere where I want to play. I played at this festival in San Francisco. I played at Knitting Factory in Berlin. I played in every serious club.
So you have no bars. There, you can play wherever you want.
Yeah, I think I can play wherever I want.
Uh-huh. I guess you've been around for a long time.
That's true, yes.
How many years have you been a performer?
About 10 years now.
10 years. And which city are most of your performances in?
Mostly in Barcelona.
Barcelona? Is that where you have the greatest audience?
I think so, yes.
Why is that? Why Barcelona of all cities?
I think Spain, the people of Spain, they have more experience with things who are spectacle or things who are different from the mainstream.
Do you, in your performances, do you include large spectacles?
Yes, I did before. Now it's more a guitar performance. I have reduced myself to play guitar and to react, to make everything with a guitar. I can sing.
When you say you've reduced yourself, you mean you've simplified your act.
Yes,
Right, because sometimes we say reduced myself, we mean
I don't mean
it's lower.
No,
No.
I think when you a reduction can be a very high level. That's what I want. I mean, to make reduce yourself to one main point, and one main point is the impression I can do with my guitar.
Okay, I want to ask the guys that are in tech, why are you playing CBGB specifically?
No, they asked me to get them a gig, and I got them a gig at CBGB.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because they,
But
they're only here for a few
they
days.
wanted to play at CBGB's.
No, they got a gig by themselves at Knitting Factory. And I'm their friend. I'm a friend of Imgard. I'm their friend, and they asked me to find another gig, and I got them a gig at CB.
Okay. Do you in your you play music? Is that correct?
What else?
All right. What kind of music is it? What kind of music do you play?
It's a rhythm and noise percussion with the dance floor things
Okay.
in.
Are there any guys that are Americans that are doing the kind of thing that you are doing?
No, we don't think so.
There's nobody doing
You don't
what
think so?
he's doing.
Are there any?
All over the world, there's nothing.
Okay. There are no Americans doing what you
And
do.
nobody's doing what he's doing either.
All right. Are there any Germans that do what you do?
No. All over the world, nobody
It's
does.
very
what
special.
we
Did you
do.
guys invent your genre?
Yeah, we invented our genre, right?
You invented it? Okay. And say it again, if you would, please, for our audience. What is your genre?
We'll see it in the show.
Well, no. In 2 or 3 words, what is it? Rhythm and blues,
No, it's rhythm and noise.
rhythm and noise
No, it's nothing to
percussion.
do with rhythm and blues.
Rhythm and noise percussion.
Yeah, with dance floor.
Is noise music?
It's noisy.
Sometimes it's noisy, sometimes
But is noise music? Is noise music? It is.
Every noise you make, especially folk music, is music. You know, there's a difference between noise from the street.
If you make a noise that's not for music, is it music?
It could be. It depends on what you think about it. I can listen to the street noise and can say that is music. That's the music I can use for my performance. That's always a decision of yourself. If it's noise or music, it's just your impression about it.
That's interesting. What do you think about the noise and music distinction, Copernicus?
Well,
What's the difference?
the difference between noise and music, there's really no difference. There's no difference. It's, music is it's just a noise. The thing is that if you feel that when someone is creating, they're banging something against something else, and that's all what sound is are they able to organize these sounds into an intelligent statement? And they use their hands, and they use drums. He uses his hands and his mind with various guitars set up in the weirdest ways that you've never seen in your life, and produce emotions and thoughts in you and an audience. I was really impressed with them, and even though they complained about, Tech complained about their sound in CB's, in Knitting Factory, I just felt a real pride and a real surprise in their searching for truth, and they're searching to express a truth that they had inside of them. And I'm really very happy to have introduced them here at CBG. Because that's all I'm about. I'm about using words to express the truth that's inside of me, and I really feel that each one of these guys are part of that. They have a truth in them, and they try to express it through their instruments, and I think I'm really happy about it. And when you see this video that they're going to do, this is the show. This is before the show they're going to put on here at CB's. It's going to be really powerful.
Okay. I want to ask these 3 guys who are Germans. all three in a row. And I'm going to start with the guy in the middle. Okay. Let's see, are you the lead singer of Taegk?
There's no singer. There's no vocals.
No vocals at
No
all.
vocals. Okay, but you're
I
in
think that
Taegk.
they should have vocals, but
Okay. I'm going to ask you, first of all, what do you think of Madonna?
Oh, she's pretty. She's pretty.
Okay, that's
She had-
interesting.
Yeah, good songs.
What do you think of her music, her songs?
Yeah, the earlier songs I prefer to the later songs.
Her later songs are better than her...
She becomes old, I think.
Okay, so the earlier ones are better.
Yeah.
You like Lucky Star?
Oh, I don't remember all these names of her songs. Don't ask me too much about Madonna because I.
What do you think of Madonna?
Bullshit.
oh no,
I mean,
no, no.
Madonna, it's a fact. Madonna, she just, it's a fake. She don't really do a real impression. You know, Madonna, she try to get much money and she
Oh
try.
no,
Yes.
that's not true. That's not true.
What do you think of Madonna,
No, I
Copernicus?
totally. I did just exactly what he said was my impression of Madonna until I saw this documentary that she did. Madonna is a great American artist. She's mixing sex and religion, which is about the same word, and she is. I am totally impressed with her. I think she is reaching on to another world, and expressing an old theme. Sex and religion is basically what she's bringing together. We have to know that there is a connection to sex and religion. And I'm really impressed with her dedication. I'm impressed with her sacrifice. I'm impressed with the fact that she could actually do what she does on stage, on an American stage. It's unbelievable. She deserves all the credit in the world. She's a great American artist.
Okay. Two people I want to ask you German guys about. Two big stars, okay? One of them died recently, and one of them died a little bit ago, okay?
I didn't understand this question.
I want to ask you, what do you think about two big German stars? One is a woman who died recently, Marlene Dietrich, and also I want to ask you about a man who died a few years ago, Rainer Werner Fassbinder. Okay? Tell me what you think of these stars.
Marlene Dietrich.
What do you think of Marlene? Lili Marlene, as they know her.
She was a big person.
What?
What she did during this fascist period in Germany, I was impressed of it. What she did, that she came over to America and fought against the Germans. That's what I really.
So you're against what the fascists did in World War II?
Huh?
You oppose
Sure.
what the
No
fascists did.
question about this.
Okay. And so you're a fan of Marlene because she opposed the fascists. What about her work as an artist?
I love her songs.
You love her songs. Okay. And her acting? Her acting?
I've not seen many films of her.
Not
They're
seen
blowing
many
English.
films. What about Rainer Werner Fassbinder, the German director? He committed suicide, I believe. Tell me, what do you think about him?
I don't think you don't commit suicide.
He did not commit suicide? What happened to Rainer?
I think he. Yeah, that's a good question. I think he did everything he can do in his life, and
He accomplished all that he could in his life.
yes, I think. I mean, he found a new language in German. He found a new style of making films. He make many.
Why did he find a new language? German was his mother language, wasn't it?
Yes, but the way he did it in the films, he found a very special way, and that's why he's so famous. He's so good.
Okay.
They have
But
to go.
Yeah, we
he did commit suicide, didn't he?
No, I think it was because of
Why did he die?
a heart attack.
Heart attack. Oh, okay. I must be mistaken. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. I know you are all fans of Copernicus, and
I'm a fan of theirs also.
you're a fan of theirs, no doubt, because, as we said, Taegk is with us, and another distinguished musician, a soloist in his own right. Your name again is, sir?
It's ERF.
Iref. And your last name?
That's the whole name.
Iref. Okay. That's almost like Madonna, isn't it?
It's shorter.
It's short. It's shorter. That's
But
right.
it's no bullshit, you know.
No bullshit in this guy. Okay. Thanks a lot for being with us.
We're
And
going to
thank
look
you,
forward
Taegk.
to seeing them here.
And we will
in
see you
CDs
very shortly
in a very
in your
powerful
live performance.
in a great with a great sound system. And they have their sound man who is not here, but he's also my sound man, Michael Ford. And we're looking forward to this.
All right. Thank you all for being with us, and have a good evening. Where's the square? It's clicking, but
Well, the rectangle means
it's clicking. It's going on.
the rectangle means it was
Hi, I'm Iref. Come nearer. We are from Berlin. And greetings to all my friends from Berlin who are here in New York. Have a nice time. you.
come tirare.
Che ne ho benissimo.
Così da quel